This is RTV6 News at 5:30, working for you.
And now at 5:30, first day delay. Yet another school district decides to wait a few extra days to reopen. What's behind the decision? And they're out there saving lives, but that puts them at risk for COVID-19. One firefighter shares his story of battling coronavirus. We'll have those stories for you here this half hour.
Here's what we're talking about today in our lineup. A call for police to be more transparent when it comes to use of force. How our investigation is shining light on the push for that. And there's a protection that you can get if your landlord is getting mortgage help. We're going to show you the tool that shows you this. And people trading dumbbells and treadmills for artificial intelligence and robots amid this pandemic. How this might be better and safer for those who haven't been to the gym in decades.
Well, first at 5:30 here, one of the biggest school systems in Johnson County is delaying the start of school. RTV6's Rafael Sanchez reports on what's behind this decision to make the change.
Franklin's more than 5,000 students will now start classes August 17th, not August the 5th. Superintendent Dr. David Clendenning says he expected the state to be in stage 5 of the governor's back on track reopening plan, which has been delayed.
We wanted to make sure that we've done everything in our reentry plan to ensure that we can mitigate the virus, continue to grow students in the academically focused areas that we teach, and provide a safe learning environment for all stakeholders. So with that, we needed a few more days.
The district had spent the past several weeks preparing for the return of students and staff, including changing classroom seating. Before COVID-19, it was not unheard of to have students sitting together in a table of 4. But things are now changing. Desks are now being separated to give students more room to learn. So in this classroom, as you can see, desks are now in a single file row, giving students more room to learn. One of the biggest changes just announced is that everyone will have to wear a mask.
In the classrooms, teachers will have them on, kids will have them on. And we'll work with parents that need exceptions. But you know what? It's one thing that we can do. When I wear my mask, I'm protecting you. When you're wearing your mask, you're protecting me.
In Franklin, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
Franklin schools are also reporting they had more families than expected requesting virtual learning for their children. The school system says the extra days will allow it to make the necessary adjustments.
Let's take a look around central Indiana, and what you don't see is a whole lot of cloud cover. We got a lot of blue sky, and we've had that sunshine today. Temperatures not quite getting into the 90s, though. 88, the top temperature in Indianapolis. We'll be heading into the 90s, though, for the upcoming weekend, and a little bit of humidity out there as well. So it does feel like we're in the lower 90s. Right at 90 for the heat index in Indianapolis, Muncie, and Lafayette. Feels like 93 right now in Terre Haute. We look at the dew point. This is a little better measure of that moisture in the atmosphere compared to the relative humidity. It's in the mid 60s, so yeah, starting to get a little sticky. But as we head into the weekend, that will also be increasing to those tropical and oppressive levels. But for this evening, warm but fairly comfortable. If maybe you're heading off to the drive-in, we've got a pretty nice forecast with those clear skies. Temperatures still in the upper 70s through 10 o'clock. Chris?
It's probably not that surprising that asymptomatic people are most responsible for spreading coronavirus. That word is coming from the Department of Health and Human Services. A top official saying that spread is also happening in the days leading up to someone showing symptoms.
Is when it became very clear that anywhere from 20 to 45% of people who were infected didn't have any symptoms. So the risk of your being in contact with someone who said, well, you look good, I look good, we're not infected, was not the case. That you could be spreading it asymptomatically. You put all of those things together, which had us evolve from saying maybe we should hold off on masks because we needed them for the healthcare workers, to saying now everybody should be wearing a mask when they're outside and should be trying to distance.
The country's top infectious disease expert driving home the importance of masks and social distancing while talking to the head of Facebook, Dr. Anthony Fauci, also putting out a warning for young people.
You can get the mindset, well, listen, if I'm infected, I don't know I'm infected, I'm not feeling sick, who cares? I'm not bothering anybody else. That is incorrect, because by allowing yourself to get infected, you are propagating the pandemic. You can't think of yourself in a vacuum.
Dr. Fauci says these surging cases are disturbing, and he said that states that skipped over CDC reopening checkpoints need to regroup and roll back, not necessarily lock down again, though. Meanwhile, the CDC is delaying releasing new additional documents on how to safely reopen schools. They were expected to come out with that this week, but now it's not clear when that information will be made available. Now, troops will not be allowed to fly the Confederate flag moving forward. The Defense Secretary put out a memo today listing the 10 kinds of flags that troops will be allowed to fly. The American flag, the POW MIA flag, those are on the list. The Confederate flag is not. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg saying today her cancer is back, but she has no plans to retire. She says she'll stay on the court as long as she can. She says she'll do the job full steam and remains fully able to do that. Ginsburg says that she has been getting chemotherapy since May, and so far it's reduced lesions on her liver, and she will continue to get chemo every 2 weeks. Let's get back to our lineup, and there is new assistance to keep people in their homes, whether you own or rent. We're going to show you a tool that can tell if your landlord is getting mortgage help and why that's important for renters.
Metro Police still need help trying to solve a break-in at the Franklin Township Little League. 2 vehicles that police thought could possibly have been involved have been ruled out, so now they're asking for your help again. The Franklin Township Little League garage was broken into sometime between June 26th and June 28th. A zero-turn mower, air compressor, generator, and carry-on utility trailer were stolen. If you have any information that can help police, call Crime Stoppers at 317-262-TIPS.
This pandemic has brought a sea of change to housing. Now, not only are people having a harder time making rent or mortgage payments, there are complex things that are happening behind the scenes. Major banks like Wells Fargo and U.S. Bank are buying up billions in government-backed loans that people are falling behind on, and that's making things even more complex to figure out who to go to when you need help.
We're here to help. People are interested in helping them, and they just need to pick up the phone, not be ashamed, and seek the help that they need.
Fannie Mae has an online resource. It's called Here to Help, and you can look up who owns your loan so you can start talking about payment options. Danielle McCoy with Fannie Mae telling us that the tool is also useful for renters to learn who owns their building.
If your building is financed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, and we're giving forbearance to the person that owns your apartment building, they may not evict you.
Renters can also get free disaster counseling to create a payment plan that will keep them in their homes. All of this is free, so that means be skeptical if you get a call, a text, or an email claiming that you can be helped to stay in your home for a cost. Now, the Federal Reserve is opening more loans to nonprofits. This is a story topping our newsfeed. The terms announcing today of the Main Street Lending Program would allow schools, hospitals, and other social service organizations to get low-interest loans. Now, when the program was first announced, it didn't get a lot of interest because banks were already offering better deals, and it was hard to qualify for because of the terms. The newest military branch is growing. The Air Force saying that 2,400 active duty airmen are transferring to Space Force September 1st. The Air Force saying that more than 8,500 applied. Apple is trying to improve diversity in the world of coding. It's expanding its coding partnership program to 10 more historically black colleges and universities. The program started last year. Let's check back in on our lineup. And some police agencies have been ignoring a new program meant to bring more accountability to how they use force.
What message are you sending to everyone in your community? That force doesn't matter?
The changes we're seeing now after our investigation into this issue. More police agencies are promising increased transparency and public reporting when they use force on a person. The information is supposed to be put into an FBI database that anyone can view. With our partners at Newsy, Mark Greenblatt shows us how some agencies are still resisting turning over that data.
When a Minneapolis police officer placed a knee on George Floyd's neck until he died, it was the type of incident meant to be tracked in a new national FBI use of force database set to publicly launch later this summer. But Newsy has learned that Minneapolis police are among the many agencies that never sent the FBI any information for its new program. A spokesperson initially wrote us an email saying, "We are not sharing this data. We are unaware of any plans to do it in the future." But 2 hours later, the spokesperson sent another email telling us to hold the presses. We are in conversations with them to send them data, saying we certainly are working to make it happen. The problem now? They say the department's computers can't yet talk to the FBI's, and so they won't commit to a start date. The Washington State Patrol, in contrast, says it found the FBI's voluntary program simple and important to join.
Downloading that information into that database is really not that difficult for us. And the public needs to know and be able to see what we do, how we do it. And if we make mistakes, we'll learn from those mistakes, we'll correct those mistakes, and we'll move forward.
The FBI began collecting data last January, asking local police to disclose every use of force incident and provide details such as the race of the people involved. But with no penalty for not reporting, the FBI confirms that most are not. A Newsy investigation in June surveyed the nation's 10 largest police agencies. Only the LAPD and the Chicago police confirmed they did participate. The agency that tased this woman while sitting in her wheelchair, the Harris County Sheriff's Office, said that it would begin sharing use of force data with the FBI. So did Pennsylvania State Police.
And now we've put the same questions to all of the nation's top 100 police agencies. And so far, 9 additional major agencies who were not participating before are doing an about-face and telling us that they will going forward.
The now 11 total agencies promising reform since our first report include police in San Francisco, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Tucson, and Dallas, state police in Connecticut and Maryland, and sheriff's offices in Broward County and Palm Beach County. 27 others confirmed they already sent the FBI data. 54 have not yet responded or did not directly answer our questions. And 4 more agencies say they did not participate before and have no plans to in the future.
If you don't think that's important to report, what message are you sending to everyone in your community? That force doesn't matter?
I'm Mark Greenblatt reporting.
Thousands of first responders are on duty. They can't stay home and they face the daily risks of COVID-19. RTV6's Alyssa Donovan takes us on the road to recovery for one first responder.
Due to their interaction with the public, first responders are more vulnerable when it comes to catching COVID-19. And we spoke with one firefighter who's recently recovered from catching the virus.
Back in March, Deputy Chief Mark Google woke up early one morning with a headache and a fever. He quickly went to get tested, which came back positive for COVID-19.
In that first week, it was like the worst cold or flu that I've had ever. It was just, my bones ached. I had a fever. I would fall asleep with just chills and covered with blankets and wake up in a puddle of sweat. And that just went, and then I'd feel better. The next day I'd feel better, and then the day after that it got worse. So it just kind of came back worse every time. All the typical, lost my sense of taste and smell and all that stuff that you hear, that's all true.
His wife Jennifer also ended up getting the virus. Google started to get a dry cough after the first week and went to the hospital.
They actually did a CT on my lungs, and it showed that I had pneumonia in all my lung fields. We were struggling to keep my SATs up, so they admitted me, and I spent about a week in the hospital with pneumonia.
He's one of 2 Carmel firefighters who have been hospitalized for COVID. There have been 17 cases total within the department. 10 of those who came back positive for the virus showed no symptoms at all, which is why the fire chief says it's vital their crews are getting tested weekly.
And I do believe that it has helped to slow the spread of this virus throughout our community. When we do have a positive case, we reach out, we retrace through contact tracing, and we alert other people in the fire service, other people at the fire stations, to let them know that there was a positive case.
Google says it took about a month before he felt well enough to come back to work. As someone who has recovered from the virus, he says he wants people to take it seriously, especially when it comes to the efforts of wearing a mask.
It's not about protecting yourself. It is about that, but it's a lot more about protecting all the other people that are around you.
I'm Alyssa Donovan, RTV6.
Thanks, Alyssa. As we look over Indianapolis, you see a lot of green out there, but your yard might be turning a little brown in spots. We do have some better chances for widespread rain coming our way, but it's not going to be in the weekend forecast. What we got Saturday and Sunday is a lot of heat and humidity. That humidity is really going to go sky high here. Saturday, a temperature of 92, 94 on Sunday. That would be the highest that we've been. We've been there a couple of times so far this summer, and just those isolated chances for showers and storms. So as we break down the Saturday forecast here, mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. Already by 10 a.m. we're into the lower 80s, and we'll find those afternoon temperatures getting into the 90s with partly sunny skies. 90 in Danville and Rushville, 92 Greenwood into Columbus. It'll feel a little warmer than that, more like the upper to middle 90s for that heat index. Sunday planning forecast, yeah, maybe want to head to the pool there one of the next couple of days. Well, partly sunny skies again, temperatures back into the 90s, and heat index values there around 100 to 105 degrees. But by Sunday afternoon and evening, we'll have a quick moving line of some showers and thunderstorms. Don't think it'll bring widespread rain to the area, but certainly the starting of some more active weather in the 7-day planning forecast. High temperature again, 90 degrees on Monday. Then the rain chances will be up a little bit here Tuesday and Wednesday. So better chance that you'll see some wet weather there. That also brings those highs back into the middle 80s, and we'll keep rain chances going to the end of next week. Chris?
We're getting some new perspective on an impact of a national coin shortage.
There's a lot of coins just sitting around in people's homes and in drawers, and some of them are locked up at businesses that have not reopened, and the money is out there. It's just not in the right place.
Industry analyst Ted Rossman says that most companies are now asking for exact change or plastic only. But companies like 7-Eleven, they've asked customers to just bring $5 in change. They'll give you a $5 bill in return, but you also get a free Slurpee. Kroger is refusing to give out coins. They just round up to the next dollar. Then they'll either put it on a store gift card for you or ask if you want to donate it to a local food bank. Credit and debit card companies, they are seeing a boom right now. And although there are options like Apple Pay that have been around for years, there's been a recent spike in users. All of this, though, it's important to note, does not mean that cash is going away forever.
We don't want to forget that about a quarter of Americans are either unbanked or underbanked. And these are people that it's not quite so simple as, oh, just use a card. These people may not have access to a card.
The trend towards digital payments started long before the pandemic. Some cities and states have previously banned cashless stores to protect the underserved. And Rossman says it's more of a necessity right now. People who haven't worked out in decades are beginning to pick up weights, but they're not headed back to the big box packed gyms. As Usher Qureshi shows us, some are going to specialized gyms that use technology to transform them into people who are better prepared to handle this pandemic.
So here we go. 69-year-old Larry Fullhorse hadn't been to a gym in 40 years, but he needed to work on building strength in his legs.
Last year I had one knee replaced. I'm scheduled to have the other one this fall.
A Facebook post led him to a high-tech fitness studio, promising results without needing to spend hours sweating away in a crowded gym.
This sounds too good to be true. 20 minutes twice a week.
So now give me a modest push out on the handles. They won't move. Got to fill that bar all the way up and keep it full. Now keep pushing forward.
The Exercise Coach is a smart fitness studio that trades dumbbells and treadmills for artificial intelligence and robotics. Technology diagnoses strengths and weaknesses in real time.
We use sensors to actually get a feel for the exact muscular makeup and abilities of an individual, and then we use that personal data to generate appropriate strength training.
The programs are geared primarily toward people who haven't worked out in years or who are starting to exercise for the first time.
Generally people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and even beyond who want real results from a workout but don't want to spend a lot of time exercising.
With many big box gyms filing for bankruptcy as gym goers are weary about coronavirus, smart fitness studios are pivoting in. Compressed workouts, personal trainers, and no crowds are key.
It works because our workout isn't an hour long of sweaty cardio. You can actually wear a mask, breathe comfortably, get all the benefits of exercise through strength training.
Something that appeals to people who are in a particularly vulnerable age group when it comes to COVID-19, like Larry Fullhorst.
You look at a facility this big, there's no problem staying 6 feet away from somebody. Everybody's wearing a mask.
Excellent.
It seems to be working for Exercise Coach. They've expanded to 90 locations in 27 states and are back operating at 90% capacity. Reporting from Lake Zurich, Illinois, I'm Usher Qureshi.
Usher, thank you. And a last check of our lineup today. One city is moving forward with taking police out of traffic stops. As talk about police reform continues across the country, we're going to take a look at the impact that this could have. Traffic stops are some of the most common interactions we have with police, but a first-of-its-kind move in one Bay Area city. This week, Berkeley deciding to move forward with a proposal to have unarmed civilian city workers do traffic stops instead of police. The co-founder of the Stanford Open Policing Project says that this could lead to some big changes.
You won't see pretextual stops, for example, where police think they may see criminal activity, and so they find a reason to stop somebody. Maybe it's because of an equipment violation or swerving between lanes or something like that. So they could then have a reason to perhaps initiate a search or kind of do other police work.
Now, this group has been collecting data on police stops from departments across the country. It's not information that's kept in a national database. And they found significant racial disparities. They say that Hispanic and Black drivers were stopped more often, and they also found a difference in searches.
That police officers have a lower standard for searching Black drivers than they do white drivers, right? So we see evidence of discrimination there just across all of the data that we've analyzed, which is millions of records.
They found Black and Hispanic drivers were also being searched anywhere from 2 to 3 times as often as white drivers. And they looked at when drivers are stopped, and they found Black drivers are stopped less often after sunset than before sunset. And they say that may indicate that race is playing a role in the stop. Now, the Berkeley Police Department isn't commenting on the proposal, and the unions for LA, San Jose, and San Francisco say that traffic stops are some of the most dangerous actions a police officer takes, and they worry about what would happen when a felon with an illegal gun gets pulled over by the parking police. Well, throwing away the trash just isn't so simple anymore. One state just made it illegal to throw food scraps into the trash, making composting now a requirement. Monday, the pros and cons of something that could come to other communities.
Felt warm out there today. It's going to feel hot Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures in the 90s with heat index values that could top 100 degrees. Will increase the rain chances, though, as we go into next week, and that will help out in the temperature department, but the humidity will remain high, so we could have some heavy downpours there. Most likely chance for some rain coming our way Tuesday and Wednesday. Thanks for joining us here at 5:30. The news at 6 o'clock starts